Think about the last time someone walked into a room and, without raising their voice or doing anything flashy, instantly had everyone's attention. They didn't dominate the conversation. They didn't explain themselves endlessly. They just spoke, and people leaned in. We often assume that kind of presence comes from confidence, charisma, or years of experience. But there's a much quieter signal at work, one so subtle most people never notice it, yet powerful enough to change how others perceive you almost immediately. This signal isn't about what you wear, how loud you speak, or how clever your words are. It's not posture, eye contact, or even tone, though those matter. This is something deeper, and once you become aware of it, you'll start seeing it everywhere. In leaders, in people who command respect in meetings, in the friend whose advice you trust without questioning it. And once you learn how it works, you can start using it deliberately. The subtle signal is this: comfort with silence. Most people rush to fill silence. They talk faster when they're nervous. They overexplain their point. They add disclaimers like, "I might be wrong, but," or "this is probably a stupid idea." Silence feels dangerous to them, like a gap that exposes uncertainty or incompetence. So they patch it with words. The result is ironic. The more they talk to prove they know what they're doing, the less seriously they're taken. People who are taken seriously do the opposite. They allow silence to exist around their words. They speak, then stop. They don't rush to see if they were understood. They don't immediately soften what they said. They let the idea land. That pause signals something powerful to the people listening. I'm not afraid of this moment. I trust what I just said. Silence, in this sense, isn't emptiness. It's confidence without performance. When you pause after making a point, you're communicating that you believe the point can stand on its own. You're also subtly shifting the social dynamic. Instead of chasing validation, you're allowing others to come to you, to think, to respond, to engage. That reversal is a big reason people start taking you seriously. Imagine two people making the same suggestion in a meeting. The first says it quickly, then immediately adds explanations, justifications, examples, and apologies. The second says it calmly, and then stops talking. Same idea, completely different impact. The second person creates space, and in that space, the idea feels heavier, more deliberate, more worthy of consideration. Our brains are wired to associate calm with competence. When someone isn't rushing, isn't scrambling, and isn't anxious about being heard, we unconsciously assume they know something we don't. Silence triggers curiosity. It makes people lean forward mentally, not back. Instead of thinking, "Do I agree with this?" they start thinking, "What do they see that I might be missing?" This is why experienced negotiators and skilled speakers use pauses strategically. They understand that words carry more weight when they're framed by silence. A pause before speaking builds anticipation. A pause after speaking signals certainty. And the most powerful part? You don't need to say anything new. You just need to stop saying too much. There's also an emotional layer to this. When you rush to fill silence, you're often trying to manage other people's reactions. You want to make sure they're comfortable. You want to make sure you're liked. You want to make sure there's no awkwardness. But people who are taken seriously aren't overly focused on managing the room's emotions. They're present, attentive, but grounded. They're okay if things feel a little quiet, a little unresolved, a little unfinished. That comfort signals emotional maturity. It says, "I don't need to control this moment." And paradoxically, that's what gives you influence over it. Think about how this shows up in everyday conversations. Someone asks you a question, and you answer immediately, even if you're not sure, or you start talking while still forming your thought. Contrast that with someone who takes a beat before responding. That brief pause communicates thoughtfulness. It suggests intention. It tells the listener that the answer matters enough to be considered. Silence also changes how people listen. When someone talks nonstop, listeners tune out. They assume they don't need to pay close attention because the speaker will eventually repeat themselves or clarify. But when someone speaks sparingly, every sentence feels important. Silence creates contrast, and contrast creates focus. Now, this doesn't mean becoming cold, distant, or unresponsive. The goal isn't to withhold or intimidate. The goal is to be deliberate. Silence should feel calm, not tense, grounded, not performative. If you're silent because you're trying to appear powerful, people will feel that. But if you're silent because you're genuinely comfortable, it reads as authenticity. It's also worth noting that silence makes you a better listener. When you're not rushing to fill gaps, you notice more. You hear what people actually say, not just what you're waiting to respond to. That presence makes people feel seen, which further increases how seriously they take you. Being respected isn't just about how you speak, it's about how you listen. Over time, this subtle signal compounds. People start to associate you with clarity, with thoughtfulness, with calm authority. They don't feel talked at or managed. They feel engaged. And when you do speak, your words land harder, not because they're louder, but because they're rare. The world is noisy. Everyone is explaining themselves, promoting themselves, and filling every gap with sound. Silence cuts through that noise not by competing with it, but by refusing to join it. It's a quiet form of leadership. So the next time you want to be taken seriously, don't reach for more words. Reach for space. Say what matters, then let it breathe. In that pause, people will hear you more clearly than ever.